Good day, guys. How are you doing today? Today we continue our lecture series. Here we continue to solve some real-life problems in C using the user-defined type and structure and file system in our program. Then let's see some question here. Some basic question here. This question says, discuss the concept of file I/O in comparison to console-based applications. What they mean by this, that we have our input, our std in, standard input, and our std out. Standard output will be used in displaying information to the user. Sometimes we can see that if we enter our application, for example, in our C++ code or in our C program code, we just create some example. Let me create a folder here. Let me call it, let me create a folder here. And then we call it p10.2. So then let me create our normal console-based applications. For example, .c. This is our normal base program application will be used to before. Then that we just have our main. We just do some application and then ask the user from example, maybe printf. Please enter the first number. This is a sample of console-based application where we enter through the console through our terminal here. So you tell the user enter this, then maybe we have the first number, int first, int second, Then we can use our scanf. We are carrying out a sample of console-based application. Then we have our ampersand first, then point enters the second number. So the fall into new line. So then we have this. Then scanf. Then you can just copy this. Just copy this and then you change this one to second. Then we can now add what? Can just even sum equals what? First plus second. Then we get a result by saying addition of %d and %d equals %d. For instance, that means our first, second, and sum. So since our placeholder is here, then equal this. So let me create a new line here. Then let me return 0, our main functions. Then once we have the cdp10.2, we can easily compile it. This is a console-based applications. And an example of it is our calculator as well. Our calculator, we punch the buttons and we're able to see the answer immediately. There is no persistent storage in console-based applications. So we enter it immediately, we get the feedback immediately. The example of application of it is using calculator, using our command line tools, operation, like want to check some network on Windows, or list some direct dir on Windows, or ls in Linux machine. So that's where we can also apply them on console-based application, or we use our cards or ls or some cards to log some things immediately to us as we proceed. So, and once we do that, there's no memory of them. So they are already gone forever after the operation is performed. So we cannot save them at all. So there is some calculator is a sample of them, and also our Linux machine, Linux terminal or Windows terminal commands we enter, we get the sample of them. Reapplication of using a console-based application. For example, now I'm on Linux machine. I can check I can set some tree now to display the structure of a folder. Now I'm able to see the structure of my files here in this place. Then I can terminate by using Control C. I'll just say, okay, ls to list some directory for me. So this is an example of what a console-based application as well. You enter it immediately, you get it done. There's no persistence in it. Now let's run this code now. Let's name it out. Let's compile outputs for outputs. Then let's just name it as app.c. If you compile this, we are having issue here. This is print. It's supposed to be print format, not printf. Apology for that. Let's compile. Good. Then we have this now. 67, 34. Then at the addition of 7 and 37 what is 101. So this is like our calculator, for example, or our normal calculator we use in classes as well. So this is a sample of it. Now we also come to there is the other question that says that the file also able to skip informations. If you go for persistent storage, even after this, you can still retain it. In our previous classes, you can see in our user test, this is what we will enter. We are still having it back here. Can you see? We have the information stored here. Unlike console-based application, it cannot retain them. An application of this thing is that when we have some in our server, our package server, our web services server, we can still retain some error that occur and store them in a log file so that the user will know where the error is from. So this is also an example, an application of what? Of file-based system. File alternative we get to it is that what? Enable for what? For persistent storage, and also for large file storage. In case you want to, instead of you storing some kind of large file on your database, you can either use a file-based application system to store those applications. So you can Google more on that question if you want to. Then we look at this question as, for example, again. The second question states, many applications use a .ini file, yes, for configuration file. For configuration, write a C program that reads a simple configuration file, config.ini. You can name it, define it to be config.ini instead of what? The .tsc that we demonstrated earlier, containing a key value pair. What do you mean by a key value pair? For example, you want to log into your Facebook or you want to log into your Google account, you can easily say that your username is the keyword, while the value is the password, is the name, the actual username that you are using. The password is the what? Is the unique keyword, and the value of the password, the content of the password is the value. So you have a key value pair. So the key value pair, I'm going to see a sample of them. For example, we have username equal to admin. The program should be able to retrieve and display the value associated with specific key provided by the user. Then, because of the long period of time as well, I've wrote this code. Let's go through it one after the other. Then I think I have it here. This is a file called config.ini. Then we have a user setting here. This is a comment. This is .ini file. Can you see? It's showing me here as logo as the settings file. Then you have something. This is a key. This is my key. This is my value here. This is a key. This is my value here as well. So like user value pair, the dictionary. So we have a host, we have local host, we have server IP, we have this. So now this is the file we are asked to create, or we are asked to read, not to create. We assume that the file has been created for us. So just read from that file. So, and how do we do that? Then sometimes some people will prefer spaces here or remove spaces there. To avoid that, we create a separate function to remove whether there is spaces from here or at the back of it. So this should, through the help of our program, you should be able to read what? To resolve, so excuse me, it will remove all the training space, the start spaces and the training spaces as well. In case there is space at the back here, you may not know, but if you are not enter the wrong thing, it will what? It will be counted that there is no user key given to it. Now let's go to our application code, our code itself. I think it's a code before the code question C. Okay, this is the question. It is the solution here. These functions is created only to remove what? The leading and the trailing white spaces. What do you mean by that? This is the leading. This is the leading. There is a space I give here now. Some people can do like this to remove all the spaces here, or we have some spaces at the back, trailing white spaces. You can also remove those white spaces. So we need to, let's come back to our code. So this is the function we do that. In case you are sure, maybe you are sure that maybe your code, your something is okay, you just want to read a few things, you may decide not to use this function, create this function. But you know, in case the user, because due to human error, we need to create this as well. We create a function called void, not returning anything. We pass in a pointer what the value we want to use. You can use anything. It is just a variable to start. We are expecting a string of characters from the user. We check if not string, then we should return nothing to the user. Then this we now create a starting point. We want to start from the first leading, whether there is a leading white spaces. Then also check here to see, is there any ending white something. We decrement it back. You know, we go back. You see there, we move back in what this is decrement. But if there is, we move forward. Understand? Until we encounter the first character. We start and check. Start. Understand? And the help as a logical and. Start. If you see this, or you see /t, this one means tab. This one means a new line. This means carriage return. There's a carriage return. Understand? So if there is something like this, so we need to what? Remove them from it. Then we increment until we get to the what? The first character. That is what the logic here is doing. Understand? So we also here, in case we also have come to our config file. So excuse me, let me start from beginning so that you will be wondering where am I even starting from. I assume that you already have it. This is our libraries. This is our string. This is our library here. We have some macro defined here, like constant, maximum line length. So to avoid the boover of our flow error. So we have to be the maximum number of 9 we are expecting of character is 256 long. So if it's beyond that, we won't be able to read it on a single line. So then we create a file name. Config file.ini. You can change the path here as well. This is the meaning of that. So let's continue. This is the name of the file that is being created here. So because the question does not tell us that we should create, but instead we should what? We should retrieve. Can you see all the information from the code? Then we also want to remove all the white spaces from the back here. We come here. There's some white spaces here. I put here the other time. Can you see where my cursor is now? So it will remove them and to get the what? This is the first character here. The last character here. So then we remove them. We check, is there any white space? Is there any tab? Is there any new line? Is there any carriage return? Then we decrease them again. So, but this function now telling us for every character, every character string in C always end with this. So since we have removed everything, so we still need to add this thing back to the end of that file. We need to add /this. Although it's invisible to the user, we need to add it to the end of this file as a string, as a non-terminator. It's called a non-terminator. It's called non-terminator. So it's called a non-terminator string. So we need to add it back and we need to cast it. The reason why you are seeing this one is to cast it to the word to be a pointer variable. So that still remain pointer. After we remove everything here, we add something to it. So that is it. So also we also what with this check again is string not equal to start. Understand? Then memo is memoless. You may not see this command before. It's a command. It's a standard C function that copies a block of memory from a source to the destination. So you can just copy this from the source to the destination with the string length. And use this through the string length. The string length enables us to find the length of a string character plus 1. The string length plus the one not terminator. The last one as well. Now let's move to the main work itself. This is the main work itself. This function helps us to get a given key value from a file. Now this function is not much. Start everything is just 96 line. So This is the function. So let me collapse this. So let me just leave it. So then let's get the configuration value first. Let's create a file. You know how to create file from our previous video. Then if file is equal to null, then we create a what? P error opening file. You can also use printf. You can also use printf to do that. Error open file, string copy, copy the file not found, copy it to this. The value of the size, we also with the what? Where the not terminator is. Then also we return if this one is what? Is null. But if it is not null, then we continue. That means our file is created, our path is recognized. Then we now have what? A car line maximum length. Then int fan equal to what? 0. Want to find, it will find something of the. Then why fget? Fget enables us to get information from the string. Line, then the size of this. It will take the what? Our string or character string here. The maximum length of the string we are entering here. So this is 256. Is a constant here. It's 256 here. So then we put it here. That is the total line we want to read. This we are getting that total line. So it here. We get the size of that total line, which is 256, or we put it there. Then the file object itself, which is here. This is the file object here, pointer object. We put it there. That is what fget accepts to read a single line in C. Then we skip comment and empty line. So if this equal to this or this, if there is comment something like this or there is something here, it should just skip it. That is what we have here. In case you may be wondering that, let me open my file again. This and this, it should skip it, or else it's going to be added to our program. Let's app.c. Then we move forward again. We separator. We check the equal to equal signs. You can design to change it to what? Full column sign. In case if you don't want it to be, you can change this to be full column sign. Some people decide to use some people want to use this column instead of what? C. Understand? Just change to full column instead of equal signs. Then we have the key, we have the value. Then separator not equal to this. Our separator split the line into key and value. Then we get the key and value. Current key because what? The maximum length. String copy. Lines of this, we use string copy as well. In our previous something. We remove any white spaces from this. We have from the string library as well. We remove every white spaces from the key. So any key, maybe it's an additional of any white spaces, we remove it. Then we also compare, string compare, SCRC compare this current key with the key equal to 0. Then if it's equal to 0, then we carry out these operations here. Remove any white spaces, then we close our file. If not found, then key not found. That means this key here, the key here, or any of these here before the equal signs is not found. Understand? It's not found. Remember to close it here. Remember to close. This is just the function. It's just the function. The function. This is the main function that did the work. This is the main function that did the work. Then we now come to our main file. So this is our main file now. So the main file says, okay, remember, we are passing it from the console. So from the single line, we did this in some of our video lectures that we pass it through argument. This counts the total number of arguments in this array. This is argument count. This is the argument value. So if argument not equal to 2, because we really request if it's not equal to 2, then use a key error that just give us error, indicate error. We're only looking for 2 something, of which the first one is by default the name of our app file. This app compiled app file. The second one will be the second file, will be the file we pass to read, to check. For example, the username or anything we pass to read, or maybe the username or password or host key that we pass to read. Then we search it by this. We create a variable called a pointer to search the first argument. If you look at the some videos we have before, previous videos, you see that 2 videos before, where we have some example of argument V. You can see how we point out by index. This contains arrays of argument supply at the console level here. So we will see a sample of it now. And then we have what? The value of this. Then get our functions here. We supply the search key, the value, and what? The size of the value that we are passing in. Then we print out what? The results of those search key. And also, it's a pointer, so you just need to, you get the address, you get the value from those things. So then we return 0. It's a point for us now to demonstrate. So demonstrate P10. Then now let's write the question G++. Sometimes if you are using GCC, you may have issue to compile it again. Then 0 output. Let's name it as app. You can name it as anything. Just name it as app. Let me just delete this app so that you don't think that is the app. So app. Then we have question C does. Okay, now I've compiled it. We have another app here generated in the file here. Then we now supply. If we supply this app now without anything, you see there was app key usage, nothing supply. But now if I now add something to it, let me supply something that is not there. We have password. I think we have password. It said the password is secret password. We have it here. Let me check it. The config password. Can you see we're able to get this? Now let's look at the username. The username as well is admin. The white space is working, but if we comment out the white space, you can see that we're not going to have it. It's going to tell you that there's nothing like that. Maybe for example, okay, excuse me, I also need to remove some things from here. Trim, where is our trim? We also have trim here. Okay, trim current key. Let me also remove it here. So I also have trim here. Then let me compile. Then let me run again. Can you see? Key not found because there are some white spaces found there. But let me check a password. It's a key not found because there's some extra spaces added. So then let me uncomment them back again. Then you can now compile again back. You have to compile your code back. Then can you see we get that password? All right, thank you very much. Please master these codes. So very, very important. Also enables to build your skills as well in C programming. To have a wonderful day. Please like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.